Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are so excited to have you here. This is our kickoff event of 1 million Black Voters Rising, and it's such a thrill to be with you. This is a dream realized. We had this crazy idea. Hey, let's register 1 million Black voters, and here we are from idea to reality. And you all are such an important part of this. So I'm just so excited and so grateful that you're joining us tonight. So I'm Karen Finney, and I am the co-chair and co-creator of 1 Million Black Voters Rising. It is a program of the Black Women's Leadership Collective. And this program has been envisioned and created in partnership with 12 Black women-centered, Black women-led organizations. You're going to hear from some of our partners tonight, which I'm so excited to be able to bring them to you. These are amazing, dynamic women who are doing so many important things to move our country forward, to build our political power, to keep Black women front and center. You know, it's an election night tonight. We should mention that. And maybe we'll get some good news while we're here on the live stream. In Georgia, we are seeing record turnout, which is very exciting. And, you know, we should admit we're in a post Voting Rights Act environment after the Calais decision from the Supreme Court. And, you know, we envisioned this program before that decision, but the timing could not have been more appropriate, because now more than ever, as they are trying to dim our light, to erase our voices, building Black political power is more important than ever. And this program is critical to that effort. And you are critical to making this happen. I'm looking at the chat. I am seeing people from all across the country who are joining us from lots of different programs. So it's very exciting. I want to just also share, you know, this program was also rooted in a very simple truth. The Black vote in this country has been undervalued, under-resourced, and underappreciated. And now, here and now, we are making sure that that stops, that people understand we help build this country, and we are the ones who have kept it to its promise, and we are the ones who will pick it up again. We started just this past weekend in Selma and Montgomery, Alabama, where the birth of, the Voting Rights Act movements, to say we have more work to do and we know it. And that's part of what this program is all about. So I just want to, last thing I'll mention about this that is exciting, you know, we know that so many systems in this country were built, they're not built for us. They're not built to help us. They're not built to help us succeed. And we are doing what we always do and what Black women always do, which is we find our own way. We make our own way. And that is part of what 1 Million Black Voters Rising is all about, because together we are building 1 million stronger. We have millions of Black Americans in this country who, some are registered to vote and they don't vote, and some are eligible to vote and they don't register and vote. And that is part of what we're trying to change. And we're trying to do it in a way that centers building community, being a part of something bigger than ourselves, really building momentum and building a movement. So now we're going to get started, and it is my absolute honor to introduce my co-chair. She is a woman, she's a dear friend, in addition to a partner in crime here, good trouble, I should say, a partner in good trouble. Her career has been defined by building power for Black women, and that is the esteemed attorney, Holly L. Holliday, also president of Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Holly.
I can't believe we finally got this off the ground. It's so amazing.
It is. It's very exciting, and I know you're looking at the chat, and I see Houston,
I'm looking
I
at
see
the
St.
chat.
Louis, right? It's just great. It's really exciting to see people joining us from all over. I think people are really ready for this moment. They are ready to get going.
We are ready to get going. I'm ready to go right with them. Listen, this has been really a labor of love, and I have to thank you, because we were in one of many meetings that we often find ourselves in, and you kind of had this crazy idea, like, what if we register like 1 million Black people? And so, and here we are. And, I think the most exciting thing about this really is that it's Black women led, but it's
Yeah.
really for everyone. That we have decided to come together collectively, 12 organizations. The leaders are here with us tonight, and we're going to hear from them all. But we know that we have been the center of leading change. We organize, we march. In fact, we just marched on Saturday, and you did a
Yes, we
fabulous
did.
job on the communications part of that. We're canvassing. We are turning out numbers, and what we have to keep reminding ourselves is that we are powerful. They would not be coming after us like this if we did not have real power. And you know what? I think
Amen.
it's time that we showed them what real power looks like. And it didn't start tonight, but it's going to continue tonight. The other thing that I want to talk about, that I want to make sure people understand, is this is not a 2026 program. This
That's
is a
right.
program that we're going to be doing in 2026, 2027, 2028, because we are going to continue to grow and continue to build power. Make no mistake, a lot of this is about power, and we have it. And now it's time for us to get it together and use it.
All right. All right. So tonight, as I mentioned, and as Holly mentioned, you are going to hear some really extraordinary women in the movement. These are women that I know I'm honored to call friends. I'm honored to work with them, to learn from them, to be just in rooms with them. Um, but we're going to start with someone who has been a mentor to me. She actually was my boss many times. I think she still thinks of me that I work for her, even though now we're colleagues. Because once you work for somebody, you're kind of always they always kind of see you that way. I'm just teasing, but she is really really part of the heart and soul of Black Women's Leadership Collective, and just really help make us get to this point. So to ground us in this moment, uh, who else other than someone that you just can there are just not enough words to describe her excellence, but she deserves a huge welcome. Please join me in welcoming Bishop Leah Daughtry. She is the convener of the Black Women's Leadership Collective, or co-convener of the Black Women's Leadership Collective, and co-convener of Power Rising, and lots of other fabulous titles. So, Leah, thank you for being with us.
Thank you both, Holly and Karen, for working so hard to get us to this point. We are so thrilled to be here and to see so many good folks joining us tonight. I am Leah Daughtry, and as Karen says, I am the co-convener of Power Rising and also of the Black Women's Leadership Collective, and I'm also a member of NCNW and a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And it is my great joy to share some words with you as we get started today. And I want to start by telling you something you already know, because the moment we're living in does not have time for pleasantries or dressed up as politics. The right to vote, paid for in blood, is under attack. The right to walk in this country with the full protection of the law, under attack. The right to build a business, to own a home, to send our children to the school that will tell them the truth about who they are, under attack.
That's
And
right.
let's be clear, this is not accidental. This is not the weather. This is not the natural drift of history. This is deliberate. This is coordinated. This is funded. This is on purpose. So I'm not going to come and spend time with you tonight and pretend that the house is not on fire. I'm not going to perform calm when the people I love are catching the smoke. I came here to tell you what time it is and then to tell you what we are going to do about it. Now, somebody in here might be tempted to feel afraid, and I understand that, but I need you to remember something. Black women have been here before. And every single time democracy has been in crisis in this country, Black women have answered the door. And when they tried to write us out of the 19th Amendment, Ida B. Wells refused the back of the suffrage parade and walked her own self to the front. Mary Church Terrell kept knocking on doors that kept being shut. And we kept marching anyway because we knew that suffrage signed on paper and suffrage practiced in the precinct are two different things. And we were going to close that gap with our own 2 feet. When they met on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, it was a Black woman, Amelia Boynton, knocked unconscious on that pavement. Diane Nash was already drawing up the plan. Septima Clark had already taught the teachers who taught the marchers. And it was the Black women who got back up and got back in line and got back to work. When Mississippi tried to bar her from the Democratic National Convention in 1964, Fannie Lou Hamer sat down in front of a microphone and said, "I am sick and tired of being sick and tired." And she changed the party and she changed the country. Ella Baker built the table. Dorothy Height set the table. Shirley Chisholm pulled up her own chair to the table. And when they told her she didn't belong there, she ran for president of the United States. Barbara Jordan stood in the well of Congress and reminded the nation what the Constitution actually said. Coretta Scott King said, "The dream kept the dream working after the dreamer was gone." And our own mothers and grandmothers, names that may never make a textbook, registered the voters, fed the marches, opened the church basements, and kept the movement going. And in election after election after election, when the analysts were searching for the margin had a name. The margin was us. This generation is not called to sit this one out. This generation is called to answer the door. Here is what we know. There are millions of eligible Black voters in this country who are not yet on the voting rolls, not yet registered, not yet counted. Millions. And I want you to hear me carefully. That is not a story about apathy. That is not a story about laziness. That is not a story about people who don't care. That is a story about a trust gap, about a story about a people who have been promised the world by candidates who could not find their neighborhoods on a map the day after Election Day. A story about folks who were told their voices mattered and then they watched what happened or didn't happen when they raised it, talked at but rarely talked with, counted but rarely consulted. And the answer to a trust gap is not a louder commercial. The answer is a deeper relationship. And that is why the Black Women's Leadership Collective built 1 million Black voters rising. Not a slogan, not a goal, not simply a goal, but a number with our name on it. 1 million new Black voters, registered, ready, and on the rolls, pulled into democracy's door, by door, by door, by door, sister to sister, cousin to cousin, auntie to auntie, pew to pew, salon chair to salon chair, stoop to stoop, because we are the ones who know how to get to our people, because our people are our people. 1 million Black voters, registered, ready, and rising. So tonight is not a fundraiser dressed up as a program. Tonight is a deployment. If you came here looking for permission to be tired, I don't have that for you. If you came here looking for permission to be afraid, I don't have that for you either. But if you came here ready to be sent, then sister, brother, friend, you have come to the right room. The hour is late. The stakes are high. The work is ours. And the moment is now. God bless you.
Woo, hot, hot, hot. Thank you, Leah. That is the word we needed to hear to kick this off. This is where we pick up and do the work because there is more work to be done. Thank you, Leah, for your support of this program and for everything you do for our people. Wow. Hey, I saw somebody from Danville. I'm just going to do a personal hey to Danville. My family, I have family in Martinsville and Danville. So hello. Okay, now back to the program. All right. So Bishop Daughtry helped ground us in this moment that we're in. But now let's talk about how we answer that moment together. Because one of the things about this program that is so important, and just about you should know about the Black Women's Leadership Collective, is that it is about Black women's organizations. We are coming together. We are working together. We are trying to help each other where we can, to amplify our voices, to amplify the power of our networks, of our resources, of our ideas. And that's part of what we wanted to show you tonight by having our partners be part of this program so you could understand why it's so important to us that this is about organizing together, working together, and building this thing together. And you are now a part of it. And so I'm going to bring back the one and only Holly Holiday, who is going to take us to this part of our conversation.
Man, thank you, Karen. And I'm excited to talk to my sister leaders. So let's get right to it. First and foremost, I want to bring up Beverly Fields. Beverly Fields is my soror. She is standing in for our international president today because she's a little under the weather. It is my privilege to introduce you to Beverly Fields, the International Connection and Social Action Chair for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. We also have joining us President Cheryl Turner, who is proudly representing Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And, you know, we got a packed house here tonight because we are also graced with the presence of International President Dr. Stacy N.C. Grant. This is my sister, amongst other colors. She also happens to lead us as the chair of the Council on Presidents for the National Pan-Hellenic Council. And of course, we would not be complete in the sorority vein if we did not also have our president, Marika T. Harris. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But I know y'all thought this was it. But see, we are inclusive up in here. And so we can't have this particular conversation when we talk about sisterhood and membership without President Ethel Isaac Williamson from the Links Incorporated. Sister President, it is so good to have you here today. Many of the folks probably are now used to just seeing us hang out all the time. And this time we get to hang out and talk about voting. So I'm real excited to get that conversation started. But before we get there, this is not new for any of our organizations. We have been doing civic engagement and engaging the community for a while. Let me start with you, President Turner. Explain to the folks how Delta Sigma Theta has been doing this, and then we'll hear from the rest of the organizations as well.
Well, thank you, Sister Holly. I truly appreciate the invitation to come on with this powerful group of women and speak to the challenges that we're facing right now. Delta Sigma Theta has been in the game a long time. In 1913, our founders stepped out and walked in the women's suffrage march, not because they thought they were going to have the vote. They knew that it was not the time for Black women. However, they knew that you should participate and be amassed together. That's why it's important that our groups here are all aligning, because we are stronger together. But earlier, Bishop Daughtry mentioned some of my sorors that were in the march. Ida B. Wells, Mary Church Terrell. We say that social action is in our DNA in Delta. Every decade has brought new challenges to us, and we face them. So now we're geared up, we are armored up to defend democracy. You know, democracy isn't guaranteed, and shamefully, we're at this point where we're having to address something that should have long since been established and accepted. But here we are. Delta Sigma Theta is ready. We have a plan in action. Hashtag Delta Decides, where we've asked our members to, each member, to register at least 2 people. And with that per region, we're hoping that we can amass a huge number that we're going to fold into the 1 million Black voters. So again, we're all stronger together in this fight.
Thank you for that. And that's stronger together. That has been our mantra for a little while. Let me go to Dr. Stacy NC Grant. Tell us about what the women in blue are up to at Zeta Phi Beta.
Well, first of all, let me say it is a joy to be in the room with my sisters. There's nothing like being in the company of women who understand that hashtag stronger together is not just a hashtag. It's what we feel, it's what we believe. I love these women that you see here because we're in the struggle every single day. As President Turner said, when we think about the origin of our organizations in the early 1900s, it was a time when our 5 founders, they were intentional about speaking up and speaking out against the societal ills of the day. And here we are in 2026. It's almost like a bad case of deja vu that we have to continue to push forward what they died for so that we could have simple rights like voting. So Zetas continue to stay engaged with the work that we're doing on the ground with local days on the Capitol and collaborating with our sister organizations, making sure that we're showing up and holding elected officials accountable. We plan for our Zeta Day on the Hill every September in alignment with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation conference so that we can be on the ground introducing our members to the constituents and with other constituents to those members who are representing us all across the country. We've had our opportunity to make sure that our outreach and our voter education mobilization is happening, the voter protection. So our Social Action Steering Committee is hitting it from all sides. We're leaving no stone unturned. Every election is an important election. We have to make sure that our voices are heard and represented. We can't be the land of the brave and the home of the free for some people. It has to be for everybody. So we are committed with 1 million Black voters rising. Our members have already signed up to be circle leaders. There's a little inside competition going on to make sure that we can get as many of our members aligned with our sisters that you see here so that we can get the job done. No one's coming to save us. We're going to save ourselves with everything that God has given us to utilize and to demand justice for all.
Oh my goodness, justice for all. And we're not mad at folks who want to sign up to be circle leaders. And if some of you are thinking, what's a circle leader and how do I sign up? Well, go to 1millionblackvotersrising.org and you can find out all about it, or 1mbbr.org. But listen, we're not done yet because we've heard from 2 phenomenal organizations, but we got more to go. I want to turn to President Harris. President Harris, what have the ladies in blue and gold been up to?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Holly, for bringing this collective group of women together. Everyone has said, as D9, we are stronger together in our impact in the communities that we serve. But the ladies of Sigma Gamma Rho, through our partnerships and programs, we have cultivated generations of women who understand the importance of advocacy, civic engagement, education, and empowerment. And through our strength in advocacy and numbers, the strength of our membership allows us to move with intention, as we say, 1 Sigma. Whether it's through our voter engagement, health equity, educational advocacy, or social action initiatives, we are aligned with our sisters to rock the vote, to ensure that we are registering members, that we are showing up to vote, that we are encouraging others and letting them know that their voice is important. We are also aligned with our Activate campaign. And Activate for us means to advocate for equity, justice, and opportunities, collaborate with our community and partners, transform lives through service and leadership, vote and encourage civic participation, ensure to amplify the voices of the underserved community and take action to address critical social issues, and E, to empower future generations through engagement and service. So we are excited. We are ready. We know that the time is now. No one is sitting at home. No one needs to sit back and wait for someone else to do it, because it's time for us to get up and show out in this moment. So thank you.
I love it. Get up and show out. Come on. And listen, all of you all, I don't know, you probably are focused, so you're not looking at all these things happening in the chat, but all the colored hearts are showing up everywhere. I have to go to what is happening with the links. Tell us about how Linkdom is showing up, President Isaacs Williams.
Absolutely. Well, hello, everybody viewing these sister presidents. I feel kind of at home. I feel very much at home because we got the cross pollination of our membership. I've got a Delta, a Zeta, a Sigma Gamma Rho, and an Alpha Kappa Alpha in the Links Incorporated. So we have all of the Divine Nine under the umbrella of the Links Incorporated. Started in 1946. We too are not new to this. We too are true to this because we started when the country was still segregated, right after World War II in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And yes, the color lines were all over America, even in the North. And our co-founders were very much laser focused on making sure the next generation had it a little better than what they were experiencing. And so for all of us, in the words of Kendrick Lamar, we may look around and say, we're going to be all right, but not really. If our neighbors, if our children, if our grandchildren. So when we talk about the next generation, I try to keep that at the forefront of when we talk about voting. It's not, some of this may not be realized in our lifetime. No one knows the hour of the day when we will no longer be on this plane, but we got to work while it is day. We've got a program called Link Up the Vote. So let me thank you, Holly. Thank you, Karen, for the invitation. When you looked around and had the Divine Nine, you could have said, that's good enough. You already had your millions of Black women, but you said, not quite yet. And so you invited us to be a part. This I view as a continuation of Link Up the Vote. We know that we can't do it alone. We're the smallest in number, but we have probably one of the most diversified of our membership that sits in all corners. We from the C-suite, the treetop to the grassroots. We have it all under the umbrella of links. So we're focused in that initiative, Link Up the Vote, to be year round. We got real energized in 2024. All of us did. We showed up, but we got to remember there's victory even in defeat. So what it showed us is the power that we really have on short notice. Some of our calls have been short notice. I sent this out to the members today, and I know they're on because they are vested. They want to know, what can we do? So even if it's not under our umbrellas, what I love about this collective is that it doesn't take away from what our respective organizations are doing. Keep doing what you're doing. We are still can come together to be stronger in number. So it doesn't take away from Link Up the Vote for us to be a part of 1 million Black voters rising. So we're going to be in on the game too. We're going to be there in all of the corners and places where we are, because if we don't do it, history will ask us, where were you in that moment? So we're going to be there, and we're here tonight to say so.
Oh, we are so happy to have you, President Ethel Isaacs Williams. Listen, I appreciate what you're saying, because essentially we're trying to let the people know this is about collaboration, not competition.
Absolutely.
And so this is unusual, but sometimes the last shall be first, and we already know who's first in the house. It is my pleasure to welcome my sorority sister, Beverly Fields from Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. What are we doing over in Alpha Kappa Alpha land?
Well, first, thank you so much, Sor Holly, and my sister sorors and all of the other organizations. It's such a pleasure to be here for this critical conversation. And what we're doing in Alpha Kappa Alpha is we have a call to action. Soar to the polls and let justice unfold. And what are we doing under that? We are looking at, number one, how. And what does that mean? How do you encourage people to get out to vote? How do you have that critical conversation with them? How do you engage a diverse group of people? Because we're not a monolithic and we think differently. So we're having conversations with our members to teach them how to have that conversation. And what does that mean? We have voting clusters.
And that means we're looking at all the different types of voters there are. You have those civil rights minded persons, you have cynical voters, you have our youth, our men, our women, the conservative, and the race neutral, because those race neutral people don't believe that race has anything to do with anything anymore. And so we have to know what messages we are providing to all of these diverse voters. So that's the number one prong of our call to action, making sure that our members know how to engage and have a constructive conversation, encouraging persons to vote. Number two, we're looking at now what? What can they do? What can our members do after you have that conversation? Well, you can canvass, and that means phone banking, texting. I think we've all done that. In person, your neighborhoods, your malls, your shops, your block parties, your campuses, grocery stores, etc. You have to get out there and really meet people where they're at. They might not come to you. So we have to really move towards our possible voters. We're also doing bus tours, wrapping buses. That's exciting, with music, parties to the polls, election countdown messages. We're even doing billboarding and adoption of parties, precincts and polls. And of course, what we've always been doing historically, marching, parades, rallies, etc. And lastly, we provide a AKA voter engagement toolkit to our members. So now that they know how to converse with the voter and they know what activities they should engage in to get people out to vote, now we're going to take a look at providing them the resources, the graphics, the flyers, some educational resources, a tracker that tracks Supreme Court decisions as well as executive orders to see the impact. So a lot of educational pieces for our voters to utilize as they're implementing these activities. And I'll end with what my sisters here said tonight about collaboration. I just want to leave everyone with a quote from my heroine, Angela Davis. You have to act as if it were possible to radically transform the world. And you have to do it all the time. In order to do that, to radically change the world, which we all know we have to do now, we need each other. We need this collective. And that is the point of Black Voters Rising. I'm so proud to be part of this collective so that we can together radically change this world.
Oh, thank you so, Beverly. I so appreciate those words. Radically change this world.
Yes.
Well, listen, let's leave the people with something exciting. We know that y'all are together because we see y'all all the time. Y'all are like the rolling through sisterhood. We got that. But I would like for each of you to give a little inspiration, maybe a word of encouragement of what we say to our sister members on the ground in community with each other. How would you encourage them to reach out and do what we see you all doing all the time now? How would you encourage them to do that in their communities? Let's just pick random people. Let's go with President Ethel. How about you?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. And I echo, I just have to go back to Beverly. I was about to call her soror, and we're not even in the same sorority, but we're sisters. When you talk about that education piece and speaking that language, those of us that are on the ground, meet people where they are. Sometimes you want to come with a long explanation. They're not interested in a candidate or a proposition or an issue unless they know you care about them. So you got to meet them right where they are. And we can't grow weary in well-doing. We may not win every election, but part of the education and registration and mobilization process is that we got to stay one step ahead. We see what's happening with these lines. Well, start doing the research now. Who's going to be in the races? Find out who it is that is in alignment with the values and the things that we're trying to uphold with protecting democracy, with protecting our vote. But you got to remember that none of us are in this by ourselves. And I think sometimes the weight just feels heavy. whether you're in leadership or whether you're just out there doing your committee work or your individual civic duty. Please, let's break some of the silos down. Let's start calling. Let's start, because everything can be on social media. Let's start calling. Let's start texting. Let's start making sure we are fellowshipping and encouraging sisters. We do too much tearing down and not enough building up. It's so easy to criticize. They're not doing this. They should do more of that. Well, how about saying, hey, go girl, I saw this happen. I saw your member did XYZ. We got to make it habitual. It can't be for just one cycle. It's got to be part of our real DNA that we uncover to the world, because we're going to win with love and we're going to win with action. So be encouraged.
This.
Be encouraged.
President Marika, what say you to your members on the ground?
Yes, it is just listening to what everyone else is saying about the collaboration and the partnership. I echo the same sentiment. We have to meet this moment with purpose and urgency. We have to move beyond conversation and get back into our communities and ensure that we are boots on the ground, literally talking to members, that we want to hear what's going on with them, and how do we in turn then communicate that to those who are running for office. And that means for us, we have to show up at school board meetings. We got to show up at the city council discussions, the community forums, the county council. We got to show up where the local election, where the policies directly impact our neighborhoods, our children, our health, and our economic future. We have to ensure that this network, this collective network, this D9 Stronger Together network, this NCNW collaboration, Black Women's Agenda connection network is working together, because our collective voices is going to have an impact. We have to stay out of the silos, because that's going to lead us to nowhere. But utilize our collective voices, our collective networks to get out in the community and make an impact.
Thank you. All right. You already know, President Cheryl, we coming right to you, sis. What say you to your local members?
Look, I echo everything that's been said, but at a time when too much public discourse encourages competition, fragmentation, and scarcity, we're all choosing collaboration over competition. We have shared purpose over silos, collective power building rooted in trust. Each partner brings history, strategy, relationships, and power to this fight. And when we combine those strengths, we can reach deeper, organize smarter, and move further. You know, Black women have always been organizers. We organize the church cookouts, we organize family and community events, and we organize in these movements. And at this moment, we're calling on Black women to engage Black non-voters. And as I've been saying to my sorors, summer vacation is canceled this year. We've got to all hands on deck and work.
All hands on deck. So Beverly, how can you contribute to that? What are we saying to our sorors in Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority?
In Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, I would say two things. One, we have to have the strength for this war. And that means that to the members and to everyone listening, you have to take care of your health and wellness, your mental health, your physical health, so that you can have the stamina for this fight. So that's number one. And let's take care of each other. So when you see someone that might not have as much strength as you, be their wings, support them. Number two, let's look at the long haul. We might not win every battle, but we have to keep our eyes on the prize so that we can win the war. And so to do that, we have to strategize. We have to ensure that we have backups, force multipliers, so that when someone may grow weary, because they might, we have force multipliers. Let's give that first line of battle a rest. Let's have that second line ready. And that's called strategy. So again, health and wellness, keeping your eyes on the prize, and let's support each other. And again, that's what this collaboration is about.
I love it. Well, Madam Double President, we end with you this segment. Take us home and tell us what you have for the local folks.
Well, they've already got the memo that summer is canceled. So what I'm saying to everybody is we are the soundtrack for Freedom Summer. We're going to be that choir of justice. Reverend Sharpton, a good old Sigma man, told us in a meeting we had the other day that everybody sings a different note. You have your sopranos, your altos, your tenors, all the voices that come together for the choir to sing and to inspire action. So as the soundtrack for Freedom Summer, we're going to soar to the polls. We're going to get that DNA inside social action. We're going to get engaged as she votes. We're going to activate and link up the vote. That's what we're doing together as we move our agenda forward. Everything we need, we already have. Our foremothers and forefathers gave us the blueprint. We didn't know that some of our community would be asleep when they were supposed to vote. So no judgment. We're going to get past it, but no one stays home. Everyone gets to the polls. We're going to make sure you're educated. We mobilize, we protect you so that you can exercise your civic duty. This is not playtime. It's not about pomp, circumstance, title, and feeling your elitist. No, we got to go to the barbershop, go to the hair salon while you're getting the weaves done or the edges laid or the baby hair. Have a conversation because some of the people now voting right in our family. Go to the supermarket, talk about the prices. Say, quite interesting that eggs and cheese are this high. Who's representing us? Talk about the bumps in the road on the highways and byways. Who are you elected in local elections? It's not just the government at the White House, it's every house. So we're coming out this choir of justice for Freedom Summer. We're unstoppable. All the brothers that are working with us, we're not asking anybody for permission. We're working with the righteous indignation that we've been given to be the voices of change and the choir of justice. That's all I have to say, Holly. Thank you.
And the collective mic has been dropped. I just want to say, don't think we forgot about you, NCNW. We know y'all's membership is out there too. Your president is coming right on up. We're going to hear from her. Purple power is real. But meanwhile, let's see all those colored hearts going up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been a phenomenal panel. Karen, I'm turning it back to you. What we got next?
Woo! I had to get a fan. It was so hot. It was so hot. I got the AC going. I thought I was gonna be okay. But woo! Come on with it.
They did that. They did that. They did that. They did that.
Sure did. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Look, summer isn't canceled. We're just regrouping with our sisters and our brothers and building power. That's all. That's all. And
We
we're gonna have fun
we
doing
got
it.
our power.
That's
Well, I'm gonna
right.
let you introduce this next panel because more power coming.
All right, all right. I'm so excited. All right. So look, those women, wow, see what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about? You can't tell me that these people are gonna beat us when this is who our team is, and all of you in this chat, on this call, on this Zoom, StreamYard, whatever you want to call it, you're part of it. So look, let's talk about how we're going to expand the electorate, because really that's a big part of why we are talking about registering 1 million new Black voters. Because we know in states around this country, I worked for Stacey Abrams' gubernatorial campaign in 2018. And let me tell you, we changed the electorate, right? And it's part of why when we were seeing this record turnout today in Georgia in these elections, we know that it's Black voters who are making the difference in a lot of these races. We are the difference makers. We are building our power and we are doing it together. Now, before I go to this next panel, we do have a special video from our dear sister, Joteka Edie, the founder of Win with Black Women. She had a travel change. We all know how that goes. So she did a video for us and we really appreciate it. So we're going to play that for you right now, and then we'll hit our next panel.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joteka Edie with Win with Black Women, and I am so excited to be a part of this historic launch of the 1 Million Black Voters Initiative. I am deeply honored to be a part of this great moment because now more than ever, Black women and our unity matters more than anything. And Win with Black Women, we are always proud to stand in unity with all of the amazing sister organizations that have gathered here tonight and all of you who are committed to making sure that our voices are up and at every single ballot box this upcoming election. We know right now there is an aggressive attack on our democracy, and there are forces that are betting on our exhaustion. They're betting on our fear and our disconnection. But what they fail to recognize and understand is that we, as Black women, we come from a legacy of survivors and builders and dreamers and freedom fighters. And we come from a descendant of Black women organizations who have always kept going when the world has tried to tell us to stop. And in this moment, we know that we must carry on that fight. I want to give a big shout out to all of the Sisters of Win with Black Women who are joining tonight, and a big shout out to the nearly 700 sisters from Win with Black Women who have signed up to be a circle leader. Those of you who are committing to make sure that at least 10 people in your circle are getting all of the tools and information that they need to make sure that we are showing up at the ballot box. Sisters, in this moment, I am reminded of the wise words of Dr. Coretta Scott King, who reminded us that struggle is never ending. She reminded us that freedom is never truly won, and that we win it and we earn it in every generation. And now this is our moment and our time to ensure that we are carrying the rich legacy and the baton. Our unity is everything. Our power is everything. And we are so excited and honored to be a part of this historic 1 million Black voters rising. Let's rise.
That was beautiful, Joteka. All right, so let's talk about we're rising. Why do we say rising? Because the more of us there are, the more change we can make, the more we can demand to hold our leaders accountable. And you heard it in the last panel. We're not just talking about Congress. We're talking about school boards. We're talking about state legislators who are going to decide some of these maps, by the way. We're talking about governors. We're talking about people who are making decisions about whether or not we're getting money into our communities, whether we got more money in our pockets, where school resources go, what about our health care? So our gas prices, don't even get me started. So let's talk about expanding the electorate. Let's talk about the political situation. Let's go to on the ground. And I'm excited for this next panel because I was just in Alabama with some of these sisters, and I know they have been on the ground talking to voters, and they have a pulse to share with us. And my dear sister, Rachel Nordlinger, is going to kick us off for this next panel. Take it away, Rachel.
Sisters, thank you, Karen, and thank you to all of my phenomenal comrades that are on this call. I'm always energized when we're together, and it's infectious. And in the words of Dr. Stacey Grant, we are walking with righteous indignation. And this is a moment that we are turning into a movement. Dr. King once said that give us the ballot and we will no longer have to worry the federal government about our basic rights. The challenge now is the federal government is taking away every right that we have. And so we are in a moment of extreme urgency. And I do crisis management for a living, and we are in a crisis management moment. We are gathered here today because 5 states are at the polls today. 2 governor seats flip in November. They are redistricting every which way we look. 3 weeks ago, they gutted the Voting Rights Act, and it all feels doom and gloom, but it's not, because this is an opportunity for us, the 92%, to come together, to galvanize, to mobilize, and to do what we do so well, which is lead the way. And the sisters in this segment are leading the way. What we saw happen over the weekend in Selma was nothing short of historic. We will read about these moments in the history books. My 3-year-old grandson will someday be able to pick up his history book, God willing, if they still allow it, and he will be able to see the work that this collective is doing in real time. So I am extremely, extremely grateful to be here. This is not an abstract moment, y'all. The redistricting is so urgent that in real time, we are at risk of losing so many things that we have. This is not abstract when we have Terry Sewell's seat that could potentially be given up. This is not abstract when our daughters and our sons are inheriting a Congress that no longer is going to look like America. It's going to look like one that was redrawn in 1876. So here we are. I'd love to get right to it by bringing forth the amazing sisters to the stage. And so we can just get right to the issues at hand, which is action, turning demonstration into legislation, turning this moment into a movement. So without further ado, if we could we bring the sisters to the stage and we'll get right to the questions. There they are. The Melanie Campbell, Glinda Carr, Rhonda Brigham.
Hello.
Power. A
Sisters.
force power right here. And I am just grateful. And of course, the Siobhan Arline Bradley. So listen, if each of you could just briefly kick it off with the clarion call. What does this moment mean? What are you doing collectively and individually to galvanize us? And what are our marching orders literally to get folks to the ballot box?
Well, I'll jump in. I just got back from the basketball course. We made it on time. I'm so glad to see everybody tonight and see all the sisters here. I think one of the things that's really important to note is the clarion call is really centered around how Black women decide to activate their power and their influence. We keep talking about power, but what power looks like moving people towards action. And what you see before you are not only leaders of institutions that either have members or movements, but also have strategized behind the scenes, because some of this stuff, y'all, we're not going to talk about tonight. I want to go ahead and make that clear. Some of this will not be televised, but there are some specific things we can say. I mean, one, Power Up, Ready to Vote is NCNW's response to this 1 million Black voters rising. The Power Up work is really specific, and this is an opportunity for you all in your organizations and people that are not a part of organizations. I saw it in the chat. What if you're not a sorority? You are a Black woman. You are in the Sisterhood of Black womanhood. Come on, somebody. So it doesn't matter if you're affiliated with an institution. It matters if you are affiliated with the movement and the work. And so what we've tried to do is identify some of the key ways to target 18-year-old seniors in high school, college freshmen through seniors. That has been a major target for NCNW. Our fastest growing membership is in that age group. So we are looking to have our members and those that are part of this work with your local high schools, identify those guidance counselors and those boards of education that are activating registration on site in schools. You have to collaborate with the school rules, but that is one way we've been targeting, as well as college campuses. The second thing we've been doing is voter mobility. One of the things that we found in partnering with some of our vote rider folks is that there are many members of our community that are living with a mobile disability and are unable to physically either get to the polls or need some support with mail-in ballots. And because of all the challenges we've had, we've decided to partner with a number of organizations to physically take families to the polls. The reason why we're doing this direct action is because we understand that every single vote counts. And yes, with all of the things that have been happening in the country, my sisters, we are going to be the answer to the question. We saw it. I looked at the stats. Over 46% of Black people showed up in the state of Louisiana. I want to shout out Louisiana. When they did not believe that we were coming out to vote, Black people showed up to vote on those constitutional amendments. They voted for those Senate candidates. So do not sleep on the work that's happening. Our sisters here, some of them are in Alabama. I was in Louisiana because I had to be there. But guess what? We mobilized across the country at the same time. Here's the last thing I'll say. What I want us to do is work on this dis and misinformation that is happening. Do not share content, my sisters. Filter out the messaging that is going out from your pages. Let me just tell you something. We are going to have to be on top of understanding the intentionality of bots and infiltrators into our messaging. And what Black women know how to do well is get the right message to the right people for the right moves. And those are some of the things that NCNW are doing. I see you all in the chat. Yes, all those organizations are a part of NCNW. Sister Mel's on our board. We got family here tonight. But we also want to talk about we're in over 500 cities across the country on 113 college campuses. There's nothing that Black women cannot do without the help of God and without this righteous work. We're going to get this thing done. That's why Georgia is already moving in the right direction. Come on, somebody. Check the polls.
Come on, come on. That's such an important point that you raised, Siobhan. Misinformation and disinformation. And I'm always talking about it because many people don't even know the difference. Misinformation is something that you may not know is erroneous or wrong. But disinformation is a very calculated, highly funded strategy to suppress us. And so it's important, as you said, that we're able to deconstruct and really to understand the difference. So Mel, I'm gonna go to you because what you were able to pull off under your leadership with others this previous weekend was nothing short of historic. Give us the state of play, sis.
Well, so first of all, it is so good to be in this community of boxes with you all always, and just um, you know, it was a blessing. This past weekend, I got a call about maybe 11 days ago, something like that. We were in New Orleans, and I got a call from my sister Latasha Brown from Black Voters Matter and Janae Nelson from NACP Legal Defense Fund, and of this idea that we could we need to respond not just to the Cali case, but to the reckless and lawless redistricting that was taking place, that was going to the heart of Black political power, especially in the South, and that we were seeing in real time the erosion of all the gains that we had made in that regard. Like you mentioned, Congresswoman Terry Sue in Alabama and Louisiana and Mississippi and Tennessee. Now in Georgia, still, the possibility in South Carolina, Missouri, Florida had already done the damage, and very blatantly uh, going after Black congressional members to erase Black power on that level. But it won't, and we know it won't stop there. But what we have seen is a sleeping giant of being awakened. So we came together, and in 6 days, quite frankly, with all of those on this call now, and those that were on this last segment, and many others, over 220, let me get the number wrong, over 200 organizations, but not just national organizations, not just those organizations that have been around, but grassroots organizations from local, states, and national, because there's an African drumbeat going. We know when we're under attack in a different way. It came across generations, and quite frankly, we were just trying to get 1,000 people there, and guess what? Over 5,000 people showed up. And then what also happened? We had Roland Martin bring his technology, his digital platform that is amazing, that helped to reach over, I was 3 million households. Uh, and we went back to Selma. We went back to where we actually gained our citizenship, because right now we're not full citizens in this country because of what's happened to the Voting Rights Act enforcement. So we went back to Selma, and Sister Siobhan knows well that Pastor Mike and Bishop Leah Daughtry and many others, Tracy Blackman, they pulled together clergy from across the country. And we walked across that bridge not as a reenactment, but an affirmation that we are in a new era and a new voting rights movement. And so when people say, well, what I would have, should have, could have, would have done had I been there, well, now we're here. So this is your opportunity and all of our opportunity to say, are we, and I don't believe, I know in my heart and my spirit, we're not taking another 61 years to regain what we have had the benefit of our predecessors. So the fight will continue. We're going to be in Mississippi tomorrow on May 20th, and we're going to continue to build on that and connect the dots for folks. Because, and really quickly, one of the things that one of the young brothers said to me, he said, a lot of my friends feel like, well, we've lost the right to vote. We've lost the ability to elect our candidates. I said, what state you live in? Do you have a statewide race? There's a governor's race in Georgia last I checked. There's a governor's race in Florida last I checked. And the statewide races and what we are seeing with the turnout, and Sister Siobhan just mentioned in Louisiana, oh, we are not asleep. And I'll stop there because I want to hear from my other sisters. But the fight is on. The movement has begun.
Thank you, Mom. How can people support Mississippi tomorrow? Just before you,
Support Mississippi. Go if you can. If you have people in Mississippi that support, because it's really lifting up the attacks on the voting rights in Mississippi. But they have statewide races as well. So get involved and get involved where you are. And this is not you can go to All Roads Lead to the South to get more information on what we're doing. But it's not just a Southern thing. One of the goals we had was to nationalize it so we understand this is about all of us. And so goes the South, so goes the nation. Ain't that right, Rhonda?
Amen, amen. Glinda and Rhonda, what say you? Both of you are on the front lines every day, every hour. Give us our marching orders.
You want to go, Glinda?
I'll go and leave the state that everyone is talking about for the closeout. So Rhonda and I spend a lot of time, obviously, around expanding representation, and particularly expanding the representation of Black women in elected office from your local office all the way up. Part of this backlash is the fact that the recognizing that Black women's voting powers changes elections, right, at the margins. It's the 92%, it's the 96%, it's the 98%. And so reconfiguring voting, restricting our voting, is they're recognizing our voting power. Over the last 10 years, we've also had an increase in the number of Black women running, winning, and leading in elected office up and down the ballot. In fact, in just 12 years, we went from just 18 Black women serving in Congress to 31. To 1 Black woman serving as a mayor of a top 100 city to 8. 241 Black women serving in state legislatures, now over 400. And so there is certainly a discussion about the changing diversity of this nation. It is the attacks on DEI because the belief that there's too many Black women in C-suites, too many Black women entrepreneurs, too many Black women with who are degreed, too many Black women raising our voices about the issues that impact us. So our work is around organize and mobilizing Black women 365 days a year. This year, there are not a record number of Black women running for office, but Black women running for some significant offices across this country. And in fact, the notion that Black women have been resting since 2024, Black women have been organizing quietly and running for office. Take Georgia. Georgia has multiple Black women on the statewide ballot. And when the night is over, it is likely to be multiple Black women advancing to the general election. That people progress, and it's the push back on our progress. And so what's so important about the Black Women's Leadership Collective is that our organizations each have a role to play in the ecosystem, but the power also is in the collective. And so I think it is important, and why we're doing this launch is to show that many of our members belong to all, they rock all of our badges, they rock all of our colors, they rock every single event that we do. It is about our work at Higher Heights is about the hashtag Black Women Vote and the group chat. And the ladies in on these 5 squares, we are in a hot group chat. We all know what a group chat is. I have my sibling group chat, my extended family group chat, I have my sorority group chat, I have my church group chat, I have the people that went to school group chat. That there is quiet organizing power. You might not think you are a political leader. That is the most powerful chat that exists. And so this 1 million Black women voters is about rising our voices individually and collectively in the group chat. And Higher Heights is the political home connecting all the dots, engaging Black political women in our leadership, from the woman who's just registered to vote to the woman who's organizing 10, organizing 20, our house, our block, our church, our sorority, our union, and our water cooler, to the woman who's running for office. So I would say this: find a candidate that inspires you and help support that person run through the finish line. We have to have diverse decision-making tables, and those decision-making tables have to have leaders that look like us with our lived experiences. So in this voting rights discussion, it is the intersection of the rollback of our rights, trying to silence our voices, and silencing our leadership. And so at Higher Heights, we encourage you to engage in helping us to expand our elected leadership, and use your time, talent, and treasures. Or if you're quietly sitting there going, I could do that, consider preparing to run for office, because there's an election every single year. And so as we fight and build in 26, we've got to build for 27, 28, 29, and 30. And what we've seen over this weekend, we are fired up. And when we fire up a Black woman, she doesn't go to the polls alone. She doesn't run for office alone. She doesn't cry in despair alone. It is about the power of the collective. And so if you're interested in following the coverage tonight, once this is over, Higher Heights is hosting an election night party, virtual election night party, following these very races in states that look like us, that are showing the power. I can't wait to hear what Rhonda has to say about the record number of voters that came out in the primaries. I just came back from Georgia yesterday. That shows us what happens when you try to strip away our power.
It's all you, Rhonda.
Listen, I've been sitting here getting texts because I'm supposed to be at some parties right now celebrating. I am so excited. Thank you to all my sisters here, everyone that's participating tonight, Holly and Leah and everyone for putting it together, Rachel for all of the work that you all do. You always are on top of things, making sure we're communicating to our communities, and more importantly, that we all stay together. So the Black Women Leadership Collective, that's what we are. We are together. We are together. And we are seeing that togetherness tonight like never before here in the state of Georgia. Now, I know there are 6 states out there that have primaries tonight, but Georgia is showing out. I can't declare no winners, but let me say this. These numbers that I am receiving right now is showing that we are showing out in the state of Georgia. Black women have done what we always do. Every time they think we're down, we are never out. When you talk about this redistricting, I want y'all to know, listen, with these maps, use Georgia as the North Star. Please use Congresswoman Lucy Macbeth as the North Star. Here in the state of Georgia, every time Lucy has been elected, since the time Lucy has been elected, since the very first time Lucy has been elected, they have redrawn her district. I don't care if they draw it up, down, sideways, twisted here. They've tried to configure it every way. And guess what? She wins every time. Every time. So I'm just telling you, let the energy of Georgia ignite the United States right now. Let the Black women in Georgia show you that we are not down. We are not out. We can do all things. Listen, we have judicial races that we're going to take over courts all over the state of Georgia. Public Service Commission, when you're looking at the school boards, everywhere, governor, come on now, governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, the Supreme Court justice here. I'm just telling you, almost every race up and down ballot, we have Black women, and they are looking really good tonight to go forward and go to the next level. So what does that mean? That means we got to go and find everyone who didn't vote so that we can make sure they vote in November. That's number one. Number two, we got to make sure we are funding these campaigns. You can't run a campaign on cold. You need some hard cash. And so I'm telling you, before you leave tonight, find a candidate, find someone you're passionate about, send them $10, $5, send them something, but we must give. what we're going to be doing at D4, because what I also think was critical in this process, we had a bench of Black candidates. We didn't have one. We had several in most of these races. And I know people don't say, we don't want to run against one another. But let me say, y'all, we're going to have to let ego aside, and we're going to have to make sure we have a deep bench of candidates, Black candidates. So if they try to knock one out, we got 5 or 6 down the ballot to go up. And so that is the strategy. So we're going to have to come together, train people, having all of these states where we're seeing these new maps. Glenda and I have already going to be talking to one another. We are talking about recruiting. We're in the process right now of recruiting candidates. Before the maps are even drawn, we need to get people to say, I'm going to run. Whatever district you live in, let us know so that we can train you and make sure that you are ready to hit the ground. And then all of these other organizations, you know, NCNW and all of you and Mel and everybody else, they're going to have the ground game where they come in and move you to the polls. We got election of protection there to make sure we protect your vote. And at the end of the day, if we all do our jobs, we get in our lanes and do our jobs, y'all, we gonna win. We going to win. And I am talking about us winning. I'm talking about us not being afraid. So Black women, sisters, I know we were up on top of the building. We smoked our cigarettes, we drunk our coffee, but baby, we down and we on the ground and we are marching. We are fired up and we are ready to go. And I'm excited. I'm gonna get off this call because I'm going to some campaign parties after this because we got some winners in Georgia.
Woo! What I love about this is we're getting action items in real time.
Yes.
We're getting our instructions. And I hope I'm not out of line, but look, Bishop kicked us off with a profound word. But I also feel like we need a voting rights, some kind of scripture, Reverend Siobhan, something to fortify us to mobilize and vote. Can you just
it's very simple. For we know that all things are going to work together for the good for them that love God and are called according to his purpose. That's Romans 8:28. Let me tell you why that's my favorite verse. Because all things, even the bad things, the hard things, the racist things, the misogynist things, the intentional things, and everything that these enemies and demonic forces have intended to be against us. See, this is why, let me tell you something. And Ron and Mel talked about this. We talk to each other all the time. And there are times you get weary, you get tired, you get messed up. You can even have some divisive things try to come between you. But let me tell you something about God. God will allow things for you to get your stuff together. God will turn a situation around for you to have to revamp, reinvigorate, and actually retrain your mind. And a lot of times when you get knocked down enough, you start thinking you're supposed to stay down. But we do not come from a people that have stayed down. Because if they stayed down, we wouldn't have had a Barack. We wouldn't have had a Kamala. We wouldn't have had a Ketanji. We wouldn't have had a Mel. Because why? These women who have come before us gave us the clarity, but they gave us God first. And I don't ever want to miss this moment that we have got to make the main thing the main thing. And that is, do not let the enemy tempt you, even when you're tired. Because I've gone through some tired moments. I felt that weight. And Mel is probably the best person in the world to say, come on, we got to go, we got to fight. And it's because we've seen some of these movies before. But let me tell you something, sisters. The kind of resilience that you see in this movement is bigger than this screen. We want you to talk to your young people, to show them. We're going to model for them what it looks like to pick somebody up instead of push them down. We're going to model for them what it means to activate. And here we're also going to model for them that all of us have lanes that should be leading to the same destination. I'm on destination freedom. I don't know about you, but I got a little 12-year-old that I want this world. I want his vote to be in place. I want his life to be saved, because we have to rise up. So all things are going to work together. And NCNW is literally in the moment of reckoning. I feel like Dr. Bethune right now is literally smiling in heaven, because she is seeing the intention of a Black woman's table that did not require anything but her to be a Black woman and show up. That's what I believe tonight's beauty of these 1 million voters about the collective. So thanks for asking that, Rachel, because this is about creating a moment that we are at war in spirit and in truth. The question is, who you with? Who you with? And if you understand who you are and whose you are, you're not going to take just nothing from anybody. All things are going to work together.
Woo!
Amen.
Well, I'm smart enough to know when to leave the stage, because after that, I feel fortified. But to Siobhan's Rev's point, their strategy is that we will be exhausted. Their strategy is that we will be fatigued. We will not. We will rise up. We will continue to mobilize each other, and we will stay lifted in prayer. If anyone else has anything else to close out on, please do so now. Otherwise, we'll get our leaders back, Karen or Holly, and we'll heed your instructions.
The only thing I'm going to say is, let's get this done, ladies. Let's get this done. And God will not leave us wanting. Let's get
I
this
got my
done.
got my fan back out. I got my fan
Yes.
back out.
I needed a fan, Karen. I was up in here like, whoo.
Let me tell you what. I was with Mel in Montgomery on Saturday, and it was hot. And it was hot. I don't just mean the temperature. I mean the spirit and the movement. And look at what's happening. Our people are taking this moment and they are saying, we're not going to stand for this. We are for destination freedom. I am getting that t-shirt made. I'm just telling you right now. I'm just telling you. Oh my goodness, Rachel, thank you so much. Ladies, thank you so much. Rhonda, go enjoy the parties. And we will be back. Come on, we got to celebrate when we can, y'all, because we are grounded in hope and our joy and our faith. And we're going to get this done. Oh, thank you,
That's it.
ladies.
All right,
Wow.
ladies.
All
Love you
right.
all.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
All right. So, look, y'all, we have talked about how we're going to get this done, what we need to get this done. You've heard about what this movement needs from us, what it requires from us, what's at stake. And we've talked about expanding the electorate because we know the more of us there are who are voting and making our voices heard, the harder it is for them to try to take it away. So, and then also the more we can deliver for our people. So let me just kind of go back to where we started, because now I want to talk about you, because you are here because I know you care and it matters, and I appreciate that. And you're now part of this. And there are a couple different ways you can, which is a calling in, and you've answered the call. So now let's talk about how you can be part of this movement. You know, building Black political power takes all of us. We know that. And you've heard that tonight over and over again. And we can do it in ways that we're complementing each other, that we're helping each other, we're lifting each other up. We're saying, sister, you know what? As my dear friend Vincent Evans says, sometimes we may have to sleep in shifts. And that's if that's what we have to do, that's what we're going to do. We are going to take care of each other in this moment, and we are going to win. So look, we're starting 1 million Black voters rising now in 2026. It's an important midterm election, no question. A lot of races are going to be very important to our futures. At the same time, this is a multi-year project because we're trying to build a conversation, build a muscle. And that muscle is about voting and engagement and about coming back time after time. And we're going to vote and we're going to keep voting and we're going to hold our elected officials accountable. That's part of what we're really trying to build here. So look, you can join through one of our partner organizations. As you've heard tonight, a number of our partner organizations, this 1 million Black Voters Rising is sort of part of a larger program that they're doing. That's fantastic. You can also, if you're not sure, if you want to, how deep and how much time you have, that's okay. Check out 1millionblackvotersrising.org. It's a fantastic website. I'll be honest, I help work on it, but that's not the only reason I think that. We had a fabulous team working on it. And there's great resources there. There is great content. And You know, look, we know the history and the tradition and the people who died and the people who sacrificed and struggled. But at the same time, we also have to, you heard this earlier tonight, we got to reach people where they are and have conversations with each other about what matters. Why does it matter to you? What matters to you, and how that ties into voting and building power for our communities. And we got to build trust, because let's be honest, we know it. Our trust and our faith in a lot of our institutions, these institutions were not built for us. They were not, most of them not built by us. And we know that. And so, sure, we're disappointed and we're frustrated. And that's okay, because we're going to build power to keep these, help us keep these systems more accountable to us. And so we're going to have those conversations and we're going to build trust in each other. You heard Siobhan talk about disinformation, and that's so important. We're going to make a pledge right now. I am not going to share disinformation. I'm going to check the facts before I share it. I'm going to make sure I'm helping to share positive, good information that can help people. Maybe they'll learn something about a candidate or an issue. Second way you can get involved is you just come to the site, you can check your registration, and you can sign up to just hear from us once a month. We're going to be sending out some, updates about how we're building power, places like like tonight where Black voters showed up and showed out. And we're going to be keeping you up to speed. There's lots of events coming up. So there's a lot of different ways. But I want us to close. You've heard some conversation about circle leaders. And I have to give my co-chair, Holly Holiday, so much credit on this, because this is work that she has been doing for a very long time and has deep understanding. It's a passion we both share for the importance of building person to person, building those relationships, building those conversations. And she has put a lot of thought and gotten a lot of great feedback about how to build out this program and build it in a way that works for you, that can be adapted by you, that says, I just want you to remember this, you and your networks, that is power. That's the power we are tapping into. That's the power that they can't tap into. So let's talk about that, Holly. You take it away.
Well, listen, we're going to build this one sister at a time, but it doesn't stay that way. Here's what's important. We, as Black women, we know that people trust us. We know that people trust us because we're the people that they call when they need stuff. When they need gas money, they call us. When they need advice, they call us. When they need a ride home, they call us. When they can't figure out why they even calling us, they call us. And we need to now leverage that trust to build power for all of us. What makes us credible, what makes us trusted, is that we're not doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for each other, for the community, so that we can all be better. And this isn't about it is about power building. It is about voting, but it's also about building a new reconstruction, if you will, where we can actually take advantage of the things that we've all worked so hard for. So how does it start? It starts with one person signing up, which you can do at 1millionblackvotersrising.org. Immediately, you're going to get information about how to start building your circle. We actually have those tools and resources also on our website. If you go to the resource tab on our website, you can start right away. We have a toolkit right now that teaches you how to build that circle, who should be in that circle. We have a video training that you can take at your leisure to talk about how you dig into that and get it done. We're not just building circle, we're building communities. We're going to continue to have programming like this that happens nationally, but we're also taking it to the streets right with you. And we're going to look at ways to do this programming in your state where you all can connect with other circle leaders locally, because one circle connects to another circle, and you start with one and then you get to 10, and before you know it, you're at 100, and before you know it, you're at 10,000. 10,000. And before you know it, you're at 1 million, and we're all connected. Listen, we all know it. We're half a degree of separation from somebody. And we know that millions of Black voters did not vote in 2024, even when there was so-called high turnout, which means the chance of us knowing some of these non-voters is very high. So we're just going to be a lot more intentional. This is not about calling people out. This is about inviting people in. This is about saying to them that I believe that you are powerful, and I believe that together we are more powerful. This is what collective action looks like, but it does start with you signing up one voter at a time. Karen, this has been a fantastic night. I want to just honor all of our sister leaders who were able to join us. These are some women who are out getting it done, but they took the time out to make sure that we could have this moment of collective action together, and we're not done.
That's right. And look, ladies, to all of you who have joined us, every one of the leaders who joined tonight did so because you matter, because you're important, and because together we are building something bigger than ourselves, because this moment is bigger than us, and this moment in history is bigger than us. So I'm going to just repeat what Holly said. Go to 1millionblackvotersrising.org. Check out the tools. Check out what it means to be a circle leader. We need you. And I'm going to just put it out there. We may have a little contest going with some other folks who think maybe they can get to some different numbers. No, we want big numbers, ladies. We want big numbers to start. We need you. We are doing trainings. There's going to be tools. There's going to be content. I'm telling you, we got more great stuff coming. So this is just the start, is where I want to leave it. And so we just want to thank you, and thank you for all the love in the chat, ladies. Thank you so much for keeping the chat going. I mean, before we even got on, we could see y'all were in there. It was fantastic. So I love it, and I believe in us. And so thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Be sure to sign up. Be sure to stay in touch with us and hear about our next event.
All right. Good night.
Good night, everybody.